Part 13. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 121. After clearing out a clean place, everyone was not in a hurry to kill the sea beasts, but first laid out the formation method on this clean place. Zhang Yan took out the array plate that he had prepared earlier, and Qi Changjai, the person with the highest cultivation base, was the master. Formation, then such a defensive formation, if you want to forcibly break through, you must be a bit stronger than Qi Changjai. The formation takes in the breath of everyone, and they can freely enter and leave the protective formation, while others and sea beasts need the consent of the main formation. The formation was in operation, and the stinky smell outside was also isolated. Those who came here for the first time felt alive again. They had to stay here for a long time, and they couldn't always block their sense of smell with spiritual power. Let's go, everyone can do what they can, and if you can't support it, immediately return to the formation to rest. Okay, senior brother Zhang, let's go. This protective formation gave everyone a great sense of security, and their fighting spirit became even more high. As soon as Zhang Yan's voice fell, they waved their magic weapons and killed the sea beasts outside. Guyao controlled the two magic swords to jump up and down among the sea beasts. The red and green light flickered, bringing out a piece of blood from time to time. Soon, a sea beast corpse fell in front of him. The protective line attacked him, threw a magic talisman at random, intercepted and killed the sea beast with a bang, and this process did not affect his control of the magic sword at all. Qi Changjai took a moment to pay attention to Guyao's situation. Seeing that he was able to deal with this group of sea beasts with ease, he did not panic at all, and he was relieved. As for manipulating the magic sword, he could use the magic talisman freely. Qi Changjai was not surprised at all. His alchemy is so superb, his powerful soul power is a crucial factor. Tianfi Yang knew that Guyao would not be in much danger where Qi Changjai was, so he put more effort into his second brother. This observation found that he did not know as much about his younger brother as he thought. In the face of such an occasion, Tianfirong not only did not have stage fright, but his aura was no less than that of other cultivators. The magic weapon in his hand is a fire cloud flag. He waved the fire cloud flag, and a flame with a blue light rushed into the sea beasts. Yunfan commanded the fire-type magic sword with one hand, harvested the sea beasts that were not burned to death, and stabbed one to death with one sword. "Brother, what are you doing? The sea beasts are running over." Tianfi Yang made a small mistake, but the sea beasts took the opportunity to attack. Tianfi Yang, who was awakened by the shock, had not come to take action. A flame blocked the way of the sea beasts, and the sea beasts wrapped in flames. He let out a shrill scream, but quickly lost his temper. "Second brother, thank you, you saved me." "Brother, you should also be more focused, I may not be able to save you next time," Tianfirong urged. Tianfi Yang was ashamed. He didn't expect to be given a face by the uneasy second brother. He couldn't help laughing and said, yes, the eldest brother must be focused, and you have to be careful." This time, his confidence in his second brother has increased a lot, not to mention that the strange flame has astonishing lethality. It is his magic weapon, all of which are high grade, but not worse than his eldest brother. He really should focus on killing beasts and practice hard, so as not to be left behind by the second brother one day. It would be a bit embarrassing. The killing was in full swing, and the monks who followed them couldn't get involved at all when they saw this situation. And the other party has established a protective array, which is impossible for outsiders to enjoy, so he picked a place not far or near, and also began to hunt and clean up sea beasts. It hurts, and it doesn't seem to need any support from others at all. Some are self-indulgent. A group of 4 chose a place with fewer sea beasts, and while killing sea beasts, they looked at the stronghold of Tianfu Academy from time to time, and one of them said, "Boss, it seems that the idea is a bit hard, and it is not easy to start. How to do? The boss said, no hurry, it's just the beginning. What we have to do is to find an appropriate time to start, and observe for a while. Another person said that the alchemist is quite capable. It is a little different from other alchemists. In fact, if we can catch this alchemist and let him specialize in alchemy for us, then what tasks do we have to take on? Made a fortune. The boss sneered, do you dare to sell the medicinal pill after refining it? That's not something we can keep, don't think about it. Once they are discovered, what awaits them is endless pursuit and killing. There is no other way to go except death, so he will not make such an idea. Oh, it's a pity, the proposer said regretfully. Guyao and his entourage cleaned up the 1,000-meter-long site out of Fangyuan, killing those sea beasts that dared not step into the cleaned area, but wandered outside. Zhang Yan greeted everyone to take out the useful things, and then went into the battle and rested for a while. Bar. Okay. In a short period of time, more than 1,000 sea beasts died under their gang. If Qi Changjai hadn't had a spare hand, maybe the 1,000 would not be enough for him to deal with alone, so compared to other killers. The beast team, their results here are amazing. Some people who stepped on the magic tool and stopped in the air pointed at them, and some people took the opportunity to step on the magic tool and fly over. Fellow Daoist Zhang, why don't we take care of these sea beasts for you? We will keep the things you need and clean them up for you. The man lowered his magic weapon and clasped his fists and said to Zhang Yan. Zhang Yan looked at Guyao and several latecomers. Guyao had no objection, Tianfi Yang did the same, so Zhang Yan said, okay, then leave it to you, just tell them what you need. Guyao also told these people what he needed, and then went into the battle with Qi Changjai to rest. Although these people's cultivation bases were relatively weak, as long as they were willing to take risks, they would still be able to come to this battlefield. There can be a lot of gains. Although there are some things that they dislike, they are still of great value to the middle and low-level Qi cultivators, such as those sea animal skins and shells, as well as their meat and blood. Excellent material. If transported back to Tianjuifang city, it can also sell for a fortune. Therefore, different classes have different ways of survival. Things are dead, but people are the most flexible and can always find the most suitable way of life in different environments. You can completely relax in the formation. After everyone chatted and laughed and exchanged their thoughts, they meditated and adjusted their breath. Lu Yang, who brought people outside to clean up the sea beast's body, looked at the people in the formation with envy. When did they do this? Can a loose cultivator have such good conditions? Brother Lu, you are right. In fact, these people are very talkative. They are not as arrogant as outsiders say, even the ancient alchemist is quite friendly. That's right, those who say that Master Gu's going to the battlefield is a hindrance and will drag down his teammates to death. Come and take a good look, what is weaker than them in the ancient alchemy master? It can be seen that he has not less practiced fighting, and the ancient alchemist is much stronger than those who can talk about it. By the way, Brother Lu, you see that Senior Qi wants all the useless parts for what? Lu Yang has collected a lot of information and guessed, maybe it's for eating. Haven't you seen the meat quality of these parts? It's also often bought by restaurants in Fangxi. Don't listen to those jealous and sour words outside. As long as we work hard, don't go beyond our status and do things we shouldn't do, they won't embarrass us. Yes, Brother Lu is right, let's do it quickly, when the sea beasts are afraid of being killed and dare not come over. Waiting. The few people stopped gossiping, neatly cleaned up the sea beast's body, and did it countless times, so they were very skilled, and the useless parts would be concentrated, and finally burned with a few fire spirit talismans. After Guyao and the others finished adjusting their breaths, Lu Yang and others also cleaned up. It was indeed more time-saving and labor-saving than Guyao and the others. Otherwise, the corpses in one place would not only be burned, but the smell would be even more unpleasant. Lu Yang called out a few times and then waited. After a while, two people showed up to take things in. Lu Yang thanked him a few times, and then took the people away. Today's harvest is not small. In the next 2 days, there were other teams who had the same idea and wanted to compete with Lu Yang, but Zhang Yan and the others thought about it and felt that Lu Yang and the others did a good job, so they handed over all the work to them. It's better to use cooked. Lu Yang and the others worked harder. Some animal meat was handled very cleanly, and sometimes Gu Yao gave them some seemingly useless things such as sea beast blood and poison sacks, and they also handled it well. Very serious, and did not express any opinions without authorization. The inner pills of the sea beasts can also be used to make pills. In his spare time, especially after nightfall, Gu Yao, who has nothing to do, takes out the inner pills he has collected and tries to concoct pills. He has several kinds of pills in his mind that can be used. He also likes to study new materials, and then record things with special effects for later use. When the Dangxiang wafted out, the protective formation could not completely stop the smell. Not only were the sea beasts around, making all kinds of weird noises from time to time, even some monks couldn't hold back when they wanted to rush over. Finally, a cultivator boldly came to the stronghold of Tianfu College, stood in the formation and shouted, "I wonder if you can ask the ancient alchemist to help refine a pot of medicinal pills." Such a situation was completely within the expectations of Gu Yao and his group, and it was a surprise that no one had come to the door until now. Tianfurong stepped out of the formation and said to the man, "You can take pills, but you can't exceed 5 pots of pills a day, and ask for pills according to the rules." The visitor was overjoyed. "I understand, thank you, fellow deist, this is the spirit grass I brought. Please trouble the ancient alchemist to refine a pot of healing elixir, here is the reward for the ancient alchemist." Tianfurong glanced at him. A bag was filled with spirit stones. The reward for alchemy, if there is no such reward, half of the pills will be deducted according to the rules. Tianfurong glanced at him playfully, took the spirit grass and spirit stone, and said, "Then you just wait, when the ancient alchemist has finished refining the pill, he will call you." The person from He was overjoyed and watched Tianfurong enter the formation. Compared with deducting half of the medicinal pills, of course he gave away spirit stones. Compared with spirit stones at this time, it was obvious that medicinal pills, especially Gu Yao's medicinal pills, were more valuable. What surprised him even more was that Gu Yao still followed the rules and didn't take advantage of the fire to rob the sky. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 122. After the cultivator surnamed Sun left, he did not spread the news about the daily 5 furnace pills, but told a few friends who had made good friends. They were overjoyed and quickly prepared enough spirit grass to go to Gu Yao and their stronghold. He rushed over and called the formation outside as well, and then Tianfurong came out to take the order, sent the same content, 5 furnace pills, and then the other party left a letter, and after refining the pill, they would be notified to come and collect it. The movement here is the focus of attention of the monks in the surrounding area, and it has been repeated over and over again. How can they not know what they are doing? They hurried over there. Unfortunately, it was a step late. Tianfurong politely told them that today's order it's over. If you can afford it, put it on the appointment list for tomorrow. The other party didn't hesitate when they heard it. Don't say tomorrow, even if the day after tomorrow is big, they can afford to wait, so they did not hesitate to hand over enough spirit grass and spirit stones, and then also left their own letter, just waiting for the medicine pill. After the practice is completed, they will know by crushing the letter. In less than a quarter of an hour, all the 10-day quotas were used up, and Tianfurong no longer took orders, because they didn't know where they would be after 10 days. After 10 days, the monks who didn't place the order could only beat their chests and sigh with regret. Leaving, I said in my heart that I must continue to follow Gu Yao and his party. Next time, don't have any hesitation, just rush over, otherwise the opportunity will be fleeting. The monks who placed the order did not leave, and gathered in the cleared space to exchange their thoughts and gossip. The ancient alchemist really has no air at all. Next time I encounter those who slander the ancient alchemist, I will definitely come out and refute them. Yeah, the ancient alchemist wants to kill sea beasts during the day, and the number of beheadings is not much less than that of other monks. During this rest time, he has to take time to make alchemy for us, and what he wants is cheap, which alchemist can do the ancient alchemist? Level. No matter what thoughts are in their hearts, at this time, no one can say whether Guyao is not. At this moment, someone received a message from Tianchuifang City, clicked it, and said in amazement, Qian Valley, the alchemist Hu Gu has personally led a group of alchemists to Tianchuifang City, and they just arrived. It caused a sensation in the entire Tianchuifang City. This is big news. My God, how could Master Hu Gu think of coming to Tianchuifang City in person? I have a guess. I have heard that Master Hu has praised the ancient alchemist a lot, and the two of them communicate with each other. Maybe Hugo Master came here specially when he heard that the ancient alchemist was here. Impossible. Huguzu is also a senior anyway. How can the seniors come to see the juniors? If the ancient alchemist is a disciple of Huguzu, it will be another matter. It may not be possible, I'll see what happens next, but I've heard that anyway. That time in Tianfu Academy, Huguzu and Gu alchemists stayed in the alchemy room for more than 10 days and didn't leave for half a step. How about, let's go back to Fang City to see, this is the person who didn't place the order. Master Hu's pill won't turn to us, but what about the disciples of Qian Valley who came with Master Hu? Then don't wait for the ancient alchemist. The ancient alchemist may start taking orders in 10 days. Anyway, it won't take 10 days to go back and forth. Let's go back and see the situation first. Many people were moved, so they set off overnight and hurried back to Tianchuifang City. Those who placed orders stayed here with confidence. Unless Huguzu personally took action, how could those alchemists in Qian Valley be able to match the ancient alchemy? Division. In the protective formation, Zhang Yan and Tianfi Yang received a communication together, and the message was the same. The two looked at each other and said in unison, Master Hu Gu led the alchemist from Qian Valley to come. The little fat man was drinking spirit tea when the teacup fell to the ground with a bang, and the tea flowed all over the floor. Seeing everyone else looking over, the little fat man scratched his head embarrassedly and accidentally slipped his hand. You continue. Yes, slippery hands, come, little fat man, I'll make you another cup, this time I'll have to serve it well, probably because I'm too tired to kill during the day. Tian Firong hurried over to cover it up for him. Guyao rubbed his chin and said, why did Master Hu Gu come here at this time? It's a bit strange. If he wanted to come, he would have come at the beginning. Could it be because he knew the little fat man was here, so he came to take a look? Then, should we go back to Fang City? The little fat man shook his hand again, for fear that the others would immediately leave for Fangxi because of his grandfather's arrival, so he hurriedly said, no need, they won't leave right away when they come, it's the same thing when we clean up here and then go back. The others glanced at the little fat man strangely. They didn't expect him to interject at such a time. Zhang Yan tapped his finger on his chin and said, little fat man is right, we are still following the schedule, and Huguzu has just arrived, I must not have much free time, I am very busy at this time. The little fat man objected, and senior brother Zhang also made sense, so Guyao stayed at ease. He did have correspondence with Huguzu at ordinary times. Sometimes he would write down any thoughts or confusions in the letter, and of course he would also take it with him. On the little fat man's letter of safety, Huguzu's reply will discuss the alchemy technique, and he will also carry the letter to the little fat man. The monk who noticed the correspondence between him and Huguzu, probably no one would have thought of the middle. Darkly cross Chen Kang. When they get along in private, Chi Changjai has a different opinion. Hu Guzu will come to Tianchuifang city because of the little fat man, and the rest may be with you, Xiaoao. Me? Gu Yao asked in surprise. Yes, I think Lord Hugu knows what happened to you in Tianchuifang city, Xiaoao. If he stands up at this time, the situation will naturally turn to your side, because Elder Na he has no courage to invite Lord Hugu and his party to the site of the city lord's mansion. Go, just listen to the orders of the city lord's mansion, and his move may lead other alchemists to come over and gather under his banner. The city lord's mansion will not be able to reach out to other alchemists, saying that Xiaoao, you are ignoring the monks. The talk of life will also disappear. Chi Changjai deduced that he did not say it in front of others, so as not to make those people mistakenly think that Gu Yao was arrogant and carried himself too high, and even Hu Guzu personally came over for him. Lift the sedan. Gu Yao thought about Hu Guzu's personality and behavior. It was really possible, and moved. Hu Guzu is such an ancestral guardian, I don't know how to thank him. Chi Changjai smiled and said, you don't need to be grateful, taking good care of the little fat man is the greatest comfort to Hu Guzu. Gu Yao nodded his head. The little fat man will definitely smash the ground in the future, shocking the entire Tianlin continent. Early the next morning, Tian Firong crushed the letters left by the 5 monks who had placed the order on the first day. The people who received the message couldn't believe it. He had to adjust his breath overnight and still need to refine pills. Is this all done? Regardless of whether it was possible or not, the 5 of them rushed over as soon as they received the message, and saw Tian Firong standing outside the formation, looking at them with a smile, and when they landed, they delivered the 5 jade bottles to them respectively. Hand. It's really done. When I opened it, I was overjoyed. 80 or 90% of the pills were top-grade pills. This time I really made a lot of money. Thank you, fellow Daoist Tian, and thank Master Gu for us, thank you so much. These cultivators who have obtained medicine pills know that Gu Yao doesn't get them any favors at all. Although the spirit stones collected are slightly higher, can these spirit grasses be delivered to other medicine masters, and can they be guaranteed to become pills? Even if it is a pill, can the quality and quantity be compared with Gu Yao's? If they sell the medicinal pills in their hands, the spiritual stones they get will definitely exceed the value of the spirit grass and the spirit stones they send out, but they are willing to sell these medicinal pills, so they should keep them for themselves. It should be known that the higher the quality of the elixirs, the less erysipelas will be produced after taking them. There is no need to worry about any adverse effects after taking this high-grade elixirs. A little bit of erysipelas, for monks who have been using low-grade elixirs, can almost ignore it. These monks thought about Gu Yao's good, so a strange phenomenon occurred this day, that is, after Gu Yao and his party finished killing the sea beast again, when Lu Yang and the others came over to dispose of the sea beast's body according to yesterday's rules, the cultivator also rushed over to dispose of the sea beast corpse, which scared Lu Yang and others into thinking that these people were here to grab business with them, and then a cultivator and Lu Yang and others explained that they were purely here to help the ancient alchemist. I don't need any compensation, I just want to do some small things for the ancient alchemist. Lu Yang and others were astonished. After inquiring, they found out that they had obtained the pills made by the ancient alchemist. They were grateful and could only repay them. After hearing this, Lu Yang did not stop them, but focused on bringing Gu Yao and Chi Changjai together. The things they need are handed over to them, so that it will not affect their income. Lu Yang turned around and told his companions that Master Gu is a kind-hearted person, so kind-hearted people are rewarded. Gu Yao just smiled and shook his head after knowing this, and didn't say anything, and didn't let anyone stop their actions. Those people were also seeking peace of mind, but stopping them made them feel bad. Convenient with others, convenient with yourself. He has met many Union soldiers who are grateful to him in the Star Alliance, and their way of expressing their gratitude is very simple, that is, When they go out on missions and fights, they help him collect various materials for him to study. Lu Chuzheng shook his head in front of Zhang Yan and said with a smile, "Junior brother Gu, it's really surprising to do things, but I like it." Seeing Zhang Yan's purpose, he quickly explained the purpose of the vote. "Of course, the one I like the most is senior brother, little brother. Junior brother Gu is the younger brother." "Okay," Zhang Yan rubbed him. Zhang Yan naturally likes it too. What he likes most is Gu Yao's pure heart, which is very precious. The four Bau and Kui stared grimly at the center of the open area, where the protective formation of Gu Yao and his party was located. The originally dense sea beasts were cleared out by them. I also found that there is no possibility of attacking at all. The light is called Qi Changai's thunder exploding sword Qi. It made them look terrified, and it would fall on them, no better than those sea beasts. "Boss, Shifang City has urged him again." The subordinate looked at Bau and Kui worriedly, and then said fiercely, "Boss, let's do it." Bau and Kui's eyes seemed to be poisoned, and he said, "Okay. Just do this. I don't believe that they can escape this disaster. The surname Qi can always guard the surname Gu." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 123. In the second half of the night, Qi Changjai, who was on duty at night, sat cross-legged by the bonfire and closed his eyes. Suddenly opened his eyes, a cold light shot out from his black eyes, and got up and stood up. Tianfei Yang was also on duty at night, and he also opened his eyes when he heard the movement. "Brother Qi, is there anything unusual?" "I'll go back when I go." After Qi Changjai finished speaking, he dodged and disappeared into the protective formation. Tianfei Yang, who was moving so fast, could barely catch the shadow, which made Qi Changjai so vigilant. Tianfei Yang didn't dare to be careless, and quickly alerted others to prepare for changes. In the group, only Gu Yao never arranged to be on duty at night, because everyone knew that in addition to hunting sea beasts, he also used his rest time to make pills. In fact, Gu Yao not only made 5 pots of pills every day, but also his companions. Although some of the medicinal pills were made by Gu Yao using the sea beast inner pill, the effect after taking it was not much worse than other medicinal pills. Some people thought of those monks in Fangxi saying that Gu Yao was out of his control and had to come out to kill the beasts. At that time, it will not be a hindrance to his teammates, and maybe they will be killed, and now I think it is ridiculous to think about those words. The Tianhaimen disciples who came with Tianfei Yang were a little worried when they heard those words, but they were ordered to protect Gu Yao. If something happened to Gu Yao outside, they would never have good fruit to eat, so they could only bite the bullet and follow. They know it, following Gu Yao is a great benefit. Those monks who talk sour are purely jealous. Gu Yao walked out of the tent and rubbed his face. "What happened? Huh? Where's big brother yet?" Tianfirong came over and explained, "Brother Qi felt something unusual outside, so he went out to check, and he will be back soon." Gu Yao's face sank. Qi Changjai couldn't aim at nothing, so he must have sensed something. After thinking about it, the only variable was those monks with malicious eyes. What did they do? Suddenly, a black-red signal was emitted from the sky above the dark night. As soon as he saw the signal, Zhang Yan immediately said, "Pack up all the tents and be ready to evacuate at any time." Because of the beast tide, Tianhaimen has prepared a unified signal. Different colors represent different meanings. Some people ask for help. If there are monks nearby, they will rush to rescue them morally. Those that are under control are represented by black and red. If you see this kind of signal, it means that there is a very dangerous situation, and the nearby monks are ready to retreat. So when Zhang Yan spoke, everyone couldn't help but pack their belongings, pack them into storage bags as quickly as possible, and at the same time, Chi Chang'ai appeared in the array again. There are a few people who have hearts in their hearts. The unpredictable cultivator put medicine into the sea beasts, causing the sea beasts to go wild, and the situation can't be seen clearly at night, so it's better to withdraw for the time being. Which is making trouble. So many monks are hunting sea beasts and driving them back into the sea, but there are still people using sea beasts to make trouble? Brother Chi, what happened to those people? You want me to say that they should be slashed and thrown into the sea? In the sea of beasts, Lu Qiu was very angry and scolded. At this time, he didn't work together to kill the beasts, but instead made small moves in the back. If he didn't find out in time, how serious would the consequences be? Chi Chang'ai sneered, break their limbs and throw them into the crazy sea beasts. Lu Qiu's Hung was originally scolding happily, but when he heard that Chi Chang'ai really did not hesitate to throw people away, entering the frenzied sea beasts, he couldn't help trembling when he thought of what those people would end up next, and it turned out that Chi Chang'ai was the most difficult to provoke. The protective formation was withdrawn, the formation plate was put away, and the salty night wind mixed with the stench came over, and the group immediately felt that something was wrong. The monks who saw the signal came out, did not rush to evacuate, but ran here for the first time, stepping on the magic weapon and landing from the air. You asked me what happened. Zhang Yan didn't hide it, and told the story of Chi Chang'ai's discovery in the middle of the night that someone had injected maddening drugs into the sea beasts. It turned out that Daiochi found it, but fortunately Daiochi was alert, so what are you waiting for? We quickly withdraw. No wonder I felt a bad feeling in my heart after walking out of the formation. What are you waiting for? I didn't realize that the spiritual energy around here was restless, so hurry up and withdraw. So Zhang Yan released a signal again, this time the signal was to retreat, reminding the monks who were still hesitant to leave the place, and then Zhang Yan threw a large flying instrument and invited everyone to board the instrument together. Fight. The large flying instrument just took off and didn't fly very far, and sure enough, the roar from the back came. Looking down from a height, you can see it more clearly, even if the black pressure below is not very real, then it can still be seen. I saw the group of black cloud-like beasts squirming and moving forward, and the smell of blood floated out. Sure enough, the sea beasts are in chaos. The squirming in the distance is accelerating, and the speed of the flying instruments is not slow, but you can still see the black clouds below, forming black waves, advancing layer by layer. If they don't look when the signal is reached to retreat in time, I am afraid that it will soon be swallowed up by this black wave. How many people can escape at night? There were still seabirds flying over in the air, and a few groups collided with the shield of the magic weapon before they got close to the flying instrument, and they were quickly solved by Zhang Yanqi, Chang'ai, and others, who had been prepared for a long time. Until the seabirds could no longer catch up. The monks who had been watching turned pale. When Zhang Yan and the others turned back and entered the protective cover, someone couldn't wait to ask the monks who had administered the medicine. Although they were dead, did they have no companions? They just want to find out these people and ask them why they did such an unconscionable act. Chi Chang'ai wouldn't be kind enough to hide it for those guys. Besides, he and Gu Yao had already been eyeing the four of them, just to outline their appearance, but it was a trivial matter, so Chi Chang'ai quickly restored them with aura. The image, when I was patrolling the night, I found that these four people were strange. They were sneaking in the direction of the sea beasts. I felt strange, so I followed them quietly. I didn't expect to find such a thing. When he suddenly appeared, the four of them were so stunned that they almost fell off the magic weapon, but even if they stabilized, Chi Chang'ai would give them a ride. No matter how they begged for mercy, they still took the initiative to say the messengers behind him were released, and Chi Chang'ai threw them down without any hesitation. Wouldn't he know who was behind it? It's just that he doesn't need these people to come out to testify, because in the face of the behemoth city lord's mansion, especially with Chang Xianmen on his back, such testimonies can't do much, and can be overturned by the other party's various means at any time, and let himself and Gu Haraka became the target of the city lord's mansion and the forces that depended on it. It turned out to be them. No wonder I didn't see them when I retreated, and I was with them a few days ago. Having hunted and killed sea beasts, I really know people and faces, but I don't know what to do, and I actually hide such a misfortune. Ah, I've heard of them. The cultivator headed by them is called Yaoi. He is not particularly active in hunting sea beasts, but he often accepts private tasks from employers. As soon as these words came out, many people frowned. They often hang out outside. How could they not know what the so-called private tasks mean? Most of them are not visible. So, they want to create chaos this time. The purpose is to deal with us. The following words can't come out. Who do you want to take advantage of the chaos? There are some people who have been close to the 4 and have chatted with them. Looking back now, it is not difficult to find something suspicious. These 4 people seem to pay special attention to Zhang Yan and his party. It is more appropriate to say that it is ancient. So, who wants to secretly attack Gu Yao on this battlefield, so that he can't go back? This guess made those people take a breath of air. This method is too vicious. How is Gu alchemist usually a person? Guessing that these possible cultivators didn't dare to stop too much on Gu Yao, they were worried that they would be exposed. Who would be the one who wanted Gu Yao's life so viciously? Thinking about the people Gu Yao had offended recently, those monks gasped again, their teeth hurt. Zhang Yan also had some idea in his heart. He didn't participate in the discussion, but went to control the magic weapon. On the way, the monks who ran away would stop and take them for a ride. When he returned to Tianshuifang market after dawn, he would start flying the magic weapon. The number of monks going up and down has doubled. At the gate of Fangxi, everyone expressed their gratitude to Zhang Yan and his party, and some left their contact information. If they need anything in the future, let Zhang Yan and the others speak. There were also people in Fang City hurried out. The signal was very high, and it was received here in Tianshui Fang City. When the first batch of monks came back, they rushed out to inquire about the situation. Because of the signal at night, the entire Fang City had entered emergency preparations. Status: the elders of Tianhaimen also brought the disciples out to greet him at the first time. They were going to leave, but they stayed after receiving a message from Tianfi Yang. They knew that Gu Yao was safe, but saw with his own eyes that he came back intact. Shang Baxia's heart finally fell back to its original position. Tianfi Yang handed the information of the 4 people headed by Bao Kui to the Tianhaimen elder. The elder did not expect this to be a man-made disaster. Estimated interest: the owner of the valley, everyone has returned, and the alchemist Gu Yao has also returned. They found out that someone was doing something in advance, so there were no casualties. The disciples of Qian Valley hurried back to report to the owner of the valley after hearing the news. Okay, it's fine, Hu Guzu rejoiced. Everyone is back. Somewhere in Fangxi, a high-pitched voice screamed uncontrollably, and then all the cups on the table swept to the ground. Trash. It's all trash. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 124. After Gu Yao and the others returned to Tianshui Fang City and brought back the news from the outside, the organizers and cultivators in the Fang City were busy building fortifications, calling on more cultivators to participate in resisting the sea beast tide, and at the same time storing the power of the powerful one-time magic weapon was taken out. There are too many uncontrollable factors in this beast tide. Resist it anyway. The power of several one-time magic weapons was indeed amazing. They were thrown out and landed in the riotous sea beasts. With the sound of the explosion, a huge wave was set off, and the huge waves were mixed with the body fragments of many sea beasts. After several consecutive times, This group of riotous sea beasts was disrupted from the original order and became more chaotic. It is a lot of benefit for the monks. Because of the chaos, the number of them trampling on each other and dying is very large. Some sea beasts lost their direction and did not advance towards the human monks, but ran in the direction of the sea, and the rest continued to go to the sea. The former sea beast, the organized monks could barely resist. Among them, Zhang Yan and Qi Changjai went into and out of Tianshuifang city several times to participate in battles, and Guyao would occasionally go out to battle. This time, more monks saw Guyao's fighting power, and no one questioned his actions. With the concerted efforts of the cultivators, this large-scale sea beast tide caused by man-made reasons finally retreated, and the cultivators who continued to fight were relieved. To ensure the supply of medicinal pills, some shops, under the pressure of public opinion, lowered the price of medicinal pills slightly. Tianfei Yang looked gloomily at the corpse in the prison cell. The elders in the door immediately arrested Bau and Kui's accomplices and imprisoned them. Before the interrogation result came out, because of an unintentional negligence, these people became corpse. Needless to say, Tian Haiman's disciples were bribed, and they took advantage of the rush to silence them. What about the people who started? This kind of disciple who eats inside and out. The elder sighed and said, I ran away, I left Fangxi early, and I won't come back to our Tian Haiman again. I should have thought about the result before I started because it is easy to check the people who did it. So as soon as the man moved his hand, he couldn't wait to run away. Of course it may have been silenced. Unfortunately, this disciple has not left a soul lamp in the door, so it is impossible to know whether he is alive or dead. There is no way to know whether it was bought this time or whether the other party was in ambush earlier. The nails in Tian Haiman, alchemist Gu, tell the truth. Tianfei Yang returned to Tianfu Academy and told the situation in Tian Haiman again, but he didn't see Guyao and the others showing surprise and anger, while his second brother showed a face that knew this earlier. Tianfei Yang looked confused. What is there that he doesn't know about? Big brother Tian, it's all right, thank you for your hard work. Whether or not the outcome of this matter is the same, we will be more vigilant. Big brother Tian, you have to be careful when you walk outside. There are too many uncontrollable, unexpected situations in the world of self-cultivation. Who would have thought that when he first came to Tianshuifang city, he would offend the Miss Ruan because he refused to listen to her use. Of course, she was only on the surface, and he did not believe the one from the city lord's mansion. Elder, he is not clear. Yeah, brother, everything is based on your own safety, Tian Firong told him worriedly. In fact, he followed Guyao and Qi Changjai, and he was much safer than eldest brother, and now Guyao's list of medicinal pills is made by him and Xiao Xiao. Fatty is in charge, so going out has more face than his eldest brother. Tianfei Yang put aside the things he couldn't figure out for the time being, and was glad that his second brother had really grown up. Guyao didn't take this matter to heart. After the wave of beasts receded, he sent someone to send a message to the owner of Qian Valley Hugu, to see when the other party was free and he would come to visit. This time he should take the initiative to go seeing Huguzu. The other party is both an elder and a senior, and he still has the feeling of supporting and guiding him. The other party responded. Guyao prepared a little, and set off together with Qi Changjai and Tian Firong. From the outsider's eyes, the four of them were a group, so it was not special to act together. When they got there, the four of Guyao were invited in by the disciples of Qian Valley. Don't think that Guyao didn't see it. There are too many disciples guarding the door. A dozen people were dispatched to greet him, still looking at him with sneaky eyes from time to time. Qi Changjai turned a blind eye. As long as Guyao didn't care, he would treat those eyes as absent. The little fat man's mind was not on it. Tian Firong twitched his mouth uncontrollably. Can these disciples of Qian Valley be more obvious? Do you really think that their little actions have not been discovered? Oops, Guyao is amazing. Even these alchemists in Qian Valley secretly worship Guyao. In fact, there would have been more people coming out, but they were told by a steward in charge of trivial matters that they were suspected of losing Kui Yanggu's face, so they would have the current situation. They didn't secretly worship Gu Yao. Looking at it like this, I want to see what is the difference between the legendary genius alchemist outside and them. Is it an extra pair of eyes or an extra pair of hands? Well, it doesn't look any different from them. He is still qualified with 4 spiritual roots. How did he become a 9th grade high-level alchemist at this age, and his cultivation level also advanced to the 9th level of Qi refining? It is really incredible. Maybe there is a special bloodline or physique that is particularly suitable for alchemy. At first, the disciples of Qian Valley were unconvinced that a little cultivator who was not in the mainstream pressed them on their heads, because whoever mentioned him would say something. It was not cultivated by Qian Valley, but he was better than the disciples of Qian Valley. Which Qian? Disciple Gu was not angry when he heard this. Want to step on them? But later, the Gu Yao had a long talk with Gu Yao for more than 10 days, and he personally admitted that Gu Yao's alchemy skills were superb, and then there was the development of Hongxian Dan. They are convinced to lose. Those people outside looking for Gu Yao to concoct pills have never made a mistake, and the pills made are mainly above-grade pills, and there are very few middle-grade pills, and the gap is too big, so they can't even compete with him. Idea. Gu Yao walked into Master Hu Gu's private living room with such a calm expression on his face. He was completely unsteady like a teenager. Ling tea and fruit had already been served. Hu Gu Master suppressed his excitement and waved at them. Those disciples dispersed immediately. It's too far away. I don't know what the Valley Master will communicate with Gu Yao, but it doesn't prevent them from gossip. I finally met him. I thought it would be a particularly arrogant alchemist, just like senior brother Sang and senior sister Wan before. Why do you mention them? At first they looked down on us alchemists, but they didn't think that they would have accidents. Who can guarantee that they will go all the way to the end? I think alchemists should be as good as ancient alchemists. No, what I mean is that all alchemists can be like the ancient alchemists, and they can face the Valley Master with equanimity. Think about the situation when we face the Valley owner. What is the situation of the ancient alchemist? In front of the Lord, I was afraid that there was something wrong, nervousness, anxiety, and reverence for the Valley Master. It seems that the relationship between the ancient alchemist and the Valley Master seems to be much more equal. Of course, this does not mean that Gu Yao treats their Valley Master. I don't respect them anymore, so I made a post to meet their owner as soon as I had time. That's right. In the living room, little fat man, no, Hu Yk was a little at a loss when he faced the gaze from Gu Guzu. When he saw his grandfather pointing his finger at his face, he remembered that it was his fake face, and quickly reached out and wiped it off. The mask, Gu Yao and the other 3 also saw it at the same time. Tian Furong almost exclaimed, and was pulled by Gu Yao to the room next to the living room. Let the grandparents and grandchildren spend a while alone together. Hu Guzu has already blocked the ban and isolated it from the outside world. After Gu Yao and the others went to the next door, they also put a layer of ban on listening. Only then did Tian Furong let out a low exclamation. I didn't expect the little fat man to look like this. This is too tender and cute. Gu Yao couldn't help but burst out laughing. He didn't expect it. Before, he never thought of deliberately looking at little fatty's true face, as long as it was the little fatty himself. At first glance this time, Gu Yao felt a sense of reaching out. The urge to pinch the little fat man's face is really like a soft bun, white and tender, probably because he hasn't seen the light for a long time, so it looks even whiter. Gu Yao couldn't imagine how the little fat man with such a face back then was accused of offending her by his fellow sect and the female cultivator. Didn't those people feel a little bit unbearable? Don't you feel like bullying a child? Hu Guzu wanted to touch his grandson's head, but he was worried that his grandson would not like it. Thinking about how much his grandson suffered in those years in Qian Valley, it was because his grandfather was blind and obedient, so he stretched out his hand. Half froze in midair again. Hu Yk didn't mind anymore. He had calmed down long ago, and looking back coldly, the more he realized what kind of temperament Grandfather Bai was, those people also took advantage of his temperament, and he was indeed poor in aptitude. The power and the situation will not be so good. His original sin is that he has a background of strong strength that makes people jealous. He heard Tian Firong say that Gu Yao was bullied a lot in his original family, and his situation was not much better than his. In the end, he was forced to leave the family by calculation. For this reason, he took the Changxianmen token in exchange for freedom. Thinking about it this way, it's not bad, at least under the eyes of my grandfather, those people will let them live well. Hu Yk's eyes were a little red, and he took a few steps closer and grabbed his grandfather's hand. Nonsense, it was Grandpa who did something wrong, and you suffered a lot from Yk. Hu Guzu interrupted his grandson's self-deprecation, and Hu Yk's tears flowed down the next moment. Hu Guzu, who is known as the #1 alchemist in Tianlin continent, panicked at this moment. He hurriedly wiped his grandson's tears, and said in a coaxing tone, Don't cry, it's Grandpa's fault." Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 125. The grandparents and grandchildren chatted for a long time, and most of them were talking about Hu Yk, while Gugu was listening. Some things were written in letters, but it felt different when the grandson said it in person. Gugu could see that the grandson had studied in Tianfu College. He was much happier than Qian Valley, and could no longer say the words to let him go back to Qian Valley. The little fat man seemed to have regained the feeling of being loved by his grandfather at the beginning, and told his grandfather everything he had experienced. Of course, there was one thing he did not disclose, which was the improvement of the purity of his spiritual roots. This matter is not only important, and it shouldn't be revealed by him first. The four of Guyao stayed with Hu Guzu for a day and a night. First, Hu Yk exchanged feelings with his grandfather, and then Guyao and Hu Guzu exchanged their latest alchemy experience, and refused to disturb others in the middle. There are many forces in Tianshuifang City who are watching the relationship between Guyao and Hu Guzu. Some people think that the rumors may be exaggerated. The news came from Tianfu Academy, maybe this academy has a face for itself. It's been a long time since Guyao came out of the temporary residence in Qian Valley. Needless to say, he was left by Hu Guzu to exchange ideas. Who can say that Hu Guzu doesn't value Guyao? I don't think that since Master Hu Gu came to Tianshuifang City, how many big bosses have been unable to enter. This is not an era of peace. You can say whatever you like. Unfortunately, you are bumped into by the righteous master, and if the other party has a bad temper, you can be turned into ashes with a wave of your hand. All of this has nothing to do with Guyao. He is discussing the same medicine pill with Lord Hu Gu. It is the type of medicine pill that took the longest time to research after his cultivation. He had discussed some things when he communicated with Lord Hu Gu in a letter before, and now the finished product has been made. But it has not been made public. The little fat man stood behind his grandfather at first with that white fat tender face, and then Tian Firong winked at him, and then saw that his grandfather and Guyao were so engaged in the conversation that he completely forgot about the things around him, so he ran aside to talk with Tian Firong. When the words came, Chi Changjai sat on the chair beside him with his sword in his arms, and he could stay still for a few hours, as if he was in meditation. Master Hu Gu directly threw the whole pill into his mouth, carefully aftertastes it, and realized the effect of the pill in the body, although the effect of his cultivation is limited. Yes, after several revisions, the effect of this elixir is very good. It does have the effect of clearing erysipelas, and it can be taken continuously. Did you name this elixir? Have you decided to promote it? Well, it is better for Hu to help the little friend. Judging from his eyesight, Guyao didn't study this medicinal pill for the purpose of keeping secrets. The previous Hongxian pill formula was handed over to Tianfu College for processing. This time the medicinal pill is suitable for the general public. Not so rare and rare. I think it's called Qing Chen pill. It's not good to have the same name as Zichen pill. Guyao originally wanted to call it Zichen pill, but later found that there was a kind of medicine called Zichen pill, and compared to the pill he studied, the medicine came so high that it did not wash away the dust in the body, but the dust on the soul of the spirit platform. Not bad. Huguzu slammed both palms. The name is simple and clear, and people can understand the usefulness of the medicinal herb as soon as they hear it. Qing Chen pill might as well be jointly launched by Qian Valley and our Tianfu College. If I am alone, I am afraid that people will not be completely convinced. Guyao continued, maybe there will be an alchemist in Qing Chen Danji. On the basis of the development of a more perfect Danfang pill. Haha, good, Huguzu laughed even more. He really did not see Guyao wrong. This son is not only talented and intelligent, but also has a tolerant and open heart, which is worthy of learning from all alchemists in the world. Is the technique not prosperous? The two discussed good things. After Guyao took out the revised pill and handed it over to Huguzu, he was about to leave. Huguzu got out of the state of pill madness, and immediately turned his eyes to the little fat man, talking about pills. I put my grandson aside again, and now I realize that the time we spend together is too short. The little fat man figured it out. If his grandfather didn't have such an investment, the alchemy technique might not be able to reach such a state, and he is no longer a child, so he doesn't need elders to accompany him all the time. Grandpa. I'm leaving with Guyao and the others. Don't worry, Grandpa, I will write to Grandpa regularly. Grandpa should also take care. Huguzu sighed, okay, little friend, my grandson has little friend Lao to take care of it. YK is very good, Guyao said with a smile. At this time, Qi Changjai also got out of the meditation mode, stood up and nodded to Lord Hugu, and left with Tianfirong and the little fat man. At this time, the little fat man put on his mask again and recovered. It turned out to be unbelievable. 5 days later, Master Hugu released a message to the public. He claimed that he would join forces with Guyao to launch an elixir developed by Guyao, Qing Chen pill, which can be used repeatedly. For all chi refining cultivators below the foundation building stage, an upgraded version of the foundation building cultivators Qing Chen pill will be launched on this basis, bringing good news to the majority of cultivators. Interested parties can go to the temporary residence of Qian Valley and Tianfu College in Fangxi to buy. Once the news was spread, it caused an uproar in the entire square city. Can Qing Chen Dan really remove erysipelas from the body? What is the price of Qing Chen pill? Can ordinary monks afford it? Is this Qing Chen pill really developed by Guyao and not Huguzu? How is this possible? How old is Guyao Ki and how high is his cultivation? But if this elixir was researched by Huguzu alone, why should it be crowned on Guyao's head? How much power can Guyao have to suppress the entire Qian Valley? Besides, it's not like Guyao has never developed medicinal pills. Could it be that the Hongxian Dan before is fake? It was also personally identified by Huguzu, and this time the same is true. No matter how suspicious the monks were, as soon as the news came out, the monks in the market were divided into two groups. One group went to Tianfu College, the other group rushed to the temporary residence of Qian Valley, and the pills were grabbed and eaten. Just know how the effect is, you can't eat dead people. Those merchants were even more moved by the wind. They saw huge business opportunities from here. The pill recipe belongs to Guyao. If they can get the exclusive management right of this pill, they will wait to collect the spirit stones. I wonder which cultivator does not take pills in the body. Erysipelas left over from the medicine? One Qing Chen pill in one hand is enough to capture countless spiritual stones, and it can be reused. Therefore, most of these merchants rushed to Tianfu College as soon as possible. As long as Hugu's words were not false, the pill recipe was made by Guyao, and only Guyao himself could be the master of the pill recipe. It's not like someone who steals other people's pills. Zhang Yan and Lu Qiuzheng didn't expect Guyao to do such a thing. Although Guyao has been continuously supplied with a lot of materials in the past 2 years, Guyao himself also went out to the Kukyu mountains to collect all kinds of exotic flowers and plants. I thought that Guyao was all used to improve his alchemy skills. I didn't see that none of the advanced alchemy could stymie him, but I still didn't expect him to make such a big move. The two of them are also very happy. The release of the Qing Chen pill has indeed benefited the majority of monks, because the erysipelas. If you accumulate more and more, it will cause the speed of practice to slow down, the movement of spiritual power will be sluggish, and the more you go up, the harder it will be to improve. When Guyao told them about the effectiveness of Qing Chen pill, they both wanted to pour a bottle down. Have a good experience, the effect of Qing Chen Dan. Guyao handed over his elixir agency to the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce, mainly because it was troublesome. Even if Tianfirong and Little Fatty were there, their strength was limited and it was difficult to deal with a large number of monks outside, and some merchants were not weak. Background. Zhang Yan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Junior brother Gu is really, he didn't say anything in advance, so people were mentally prepared. It was too sudden. No wonder every time he went back to his side, he saw that his pill room was full of various utensils. It should be doing his research. Other alchemists followed the path of their predecessors conscientiously in the initial stage, and dared not take a wrong step. Even so, their progress was slow, but Guyao's talent was not only high, but he was also much more daring, and he dared to experiment and study everything. I heard that the previous pill furnace was destroyed in the fire. It is said that Guyao has always insisted on body training. Now Zhang Yan has an idea. Guyao insists on training the body because he often has to face the fryer, so he has to improve his physical strength. Ordinary alchemists can't cope with the occasional frying. A moment. It was also the first time that Lu Qiuzheng praised a cultivator. Knowing that junior brother Gu is not easy, I didn't expect to make such a big move in silence. I didn't look at the students who came with us. Looking at junior brother Gu is like looking at a god. People are the same. It is clear that Qi Changjai is stronger, and he is a big killer on the battlefield. No one is his opponent, but the people in the academy obviously respect Guyao more than Qi Changjai. Knowing alchemy is amazing. He also wanted to try it out. Maybe he also has the talent in this area. Senior brother Zhang, how do you deal with these posts? A person in charge of the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce held a stack of posts with a sad face, but it was difficult for them to die. In the past, it was difficult for these people to meet, but now they are holding a big gift and begging for the door. At first, it was quite a surprise, but now it has become terrifying, and it feels like a dynamite nest if one is not handled well. Lu Qiuzheng came over and flipped it a few times, and said, how to deal with it? Just leave it like this, it's fair to them if no one sees it. Junior brother Gu said that the Qing Chen pill was handed over to our general agent of the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce. In the future, whoever wants Qing Chen pill can buy it from our Chamber of Commerce or the medicine shop under the name of Qian Gu. Zhang Yan nodded in agreement, although Qiuzheng said it casually, but this is the result. Just let this news out. The supply of medicinal herbs will increase in the past 2 days, but they will still be sold in limited quantities. No need, Xingyu Chamber of Commerce will accept bulk orders from other merchants. Not right now, the monks in Fang City are all queuing up for the Qing Chen pill, and their needs must be met first. Although they respect Guyao, if the Xingyu Merchant Association dares to accept a large number of orders from outside, it is estimated that those monks will team up to level Tianfu Academy. No, when Guyao just came back from Master Hugu and talked about it, Zhang Yan immediately mobilized a group of alchemists from the college and the branch of the Chamber of Commerce outside. Fortunately, This medicinal pill is an intermediate level pill, an intermediate level pill. The alchemist can refine it, otherwise it will not be able to supply the external demand. There is also a diversion in Qian Valley, so although the pressure is great, it is not impossible to hold on. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 126. What is the effect of Qing Chen Dan? In the past few days, people can be heard asking such questions in restaurants and cafes in the streets and alleys of Tianquifang City. Qing Chen Dan and Guyao have undoubtedly become the most lively topics. Qing Chen pill? Good. Of course it's good. I only took one, and I felt that the spiritual power in my body was much purer. Once the spiritual power was pure, I felt that the power of the magic tricks I squeezed out when fighting against the sea beasts was also stronger. One pill of Yuejin is definitely better, but unfortunately the second pill has to wait a few days before taking it. Yeah, after I used the Qing Chen pill, I obviously felt that impurities were removed. The deeper the erysipelas, the greater the feeling. The ancient alchemist is really amazing. What we have known in the past can clear the erysipelas, and we can afford it. Those treasures of heaven and earth are even more rare, and it is not our turn to fight for it. Yes, the price of Qing Chen pill is not too high, it is slightly higher than the intermediate pill, but it is not as good as the high-level pill. The most valuable thing about the ancient pill master is that there are no exotic goods, and we ordinary monks can also afford it. Qing Chen pill only needs to be eaten once in a few years, and it does not need to be eaten often, so it is completely within the range of ordinary monks. This is the most happy thing for all monks, otherwise Guyao will charge a higher price. I believe there are also a large number of monks sought after. Tianfu College isn't that bad. I have to ask if they want a loose cultivator like us who joined in the middle, or wait for the next Immortal promotion conference. I will let my younger brothers and sisters try it out, if they can. If you enter Tianfu College, you can get the first month near the water tower. That's right, it would be even better if there is an alchemist talent. I heard that the ancient alchemist often instructed his alchemists in the academy. As Guyao became famous, Tianfu College also took the limelight. This time the limelight was very different from before. In the past, it was always associated with garbage shelters, but this time, many people wanted to send their families' children to Tianfu Academy. The reputation of Qing Chen Dan also quickly spread from Tianquifang City to the outside world. All the forces in the mainland connected with Tianquifang City have received news. Many high-level forces hurriedly brought their disciples to Tianquifang City. Under the situation of increasingly scarce resources, the significance of Qing Chen Dan becomes even more important. City Lord's residence. Elder He asked Ruan Xinhui to come over, and to remove the traces she left outside. Girl, don't do anything more, especially at this critical time, otherwise it won't be as easy to deal with as last time, Elder He said to her seriously. Ruan Xinhui was shocked. Could it be that Elder He stopped my people to go out? Why? Didn't he just get some kind of medicine pill? Maybe it was made by Hu Guzu, or it was obtained from a secret place in the Yufu. Yes, a little monk from such a small place, can he have such great ability? And is it possible that our city lord's mansion has to offer him up? Elder He's face sank. Others were holding Ruan Xinhui. He would not do the same, and said unpleasantly, "This is the meaning of the transmission from the city lord's mansion. If Miss Ruan is not convinced, then she has to ask Miss Ruan to go back." Ruan Xinhui's face turned blue and red. Her father's status in the Duobao pavilion was not low, but he couldn't surpass the worshipping elders in the city lord's mansion, especially the city lord, but he was defeated by a little monk who she despised very much. It made her very angry, and the breath was hard to swallow, but compared to being sent back, she couldn't afford to lose face. I had to say, what I heard from Elder He is that Xin retire. Ruan Xinhui left angrily, and Elder He still kept people staring at her, and she should not act rashly, otherwise it would annoy the forces of the entire Tianlin continent to unite against the city lord's mansion. Even in the Changxianmen, I have never heard of such a genius, and it is very likely that a small pill will change the situation in this continent. Especially when it turned out that the Changxianmen token came from this little alchemist in exchange for the freedom to leave the family. Elder He believed that the city lord would vomit blood even more after knowing this. If the news was passed back to Changxianmen, presumably the disciple who entered the sect by the token will not end well. Ruan Xinhui returned to her room, and the fire was so great that she smashed it hard, and smashed everything in the room that she saw with her eyes. That's not all. Just after the smashing, I received a summons from my father, asking her if she had a chance to get close to the alchemist who made the Qing Chen pill. If they can pull him into the city lord's mansion, then they have made great contributions in front of the city lord. The last time to get Dan Fang, after reading the communication, Ruan Xinhui, who had fueled the fire, spit blood directly. The person who waited on Miss One was startled. Roll. Guyao didn't know that there was an eldest young lady who vomited blood because of the medicinal pill he brought out. If he could vomit blood from the cultivator's spirit, he would be very happy if he knew, but now, he can't even leave the temporary station, and Lu Qiu's Hung is still alive. Fatty Arida Firong told him that as long as he showed up, he would definitely be surrounded by a large number of monks. Thinking about that scene, his scalp was numb. He still huddled in the pill room and made pills. The cat lying on the side was suspected make a sneer. Tian Fei Yang ran over excitedly this day. Good news. Great news. Brother, what is it? Tian Firong asked curiously. Tian Fei Yang said happily, because of the Qing Chen pill, many monks from all over the world are rushing here now. You don't need to worry about the sea beast tide anymore. The sect master and the elders have said that the credit this time is on you, Guyao. If you didn't come up with the Qing Chen pill, or the news released in Tianshuifang City, there would not be so many forces coming. No matter what their purpose is, as long as the effect is real, if they don't believe that they will come, they will stand by and ignore the invasion of sea beasts, and the loss of Tianhaimen will be minimized. Really, Guyao didn't expect such a chain reaction. Is this an unintentional move? When Tian Fei Yang saw this, the smile in his eyes became even stronger. The elder also asked him whether Guyao deliberately announced the news of Qing Chen pill at this time for the sea beast tide, so as to attract monks from all walks of life to resist the beast tide. Intuition should not be like this. Now that Guyao looks like this, it is true, but it does not prevent him and Tianhaimen from being grateful to Guyao. But there is also bad news. Tian Fei Yang thought of another thing the elder told him, and his smile restrained. What is it? Someone is going to hurt Guyao. Tian Firong stared. No, second brother, where do you want to go? Tian Fei Yang waved his hand quickly. Now whoever dares to harm Guyao, it will provoke public anger. It's the previous sea beast riot. Zongmen has been tracking it down, and wants to learn from other the clues start, but all traces have been wiped clean. Really hateful. The drugs used were all forbidden objects at this time, so Zongmen tried to start from this aspect, especially after the Qing Chen pill came out. Tianhaimen wanted to investigate this matter clearly, but it was not only obstructed, but also all relevant clues disappeared cleanly, and all the monks who had come into contact with him also disappeared. It is normal for the monk to disappear at this time, because he may be killed in the beast tide at any time, but this incident was obviously silenced. Guyao smiled faintly and said, "It doesn't matter, even if you find any evidence, it probably won't work. Big brother Tian, don't bother." Tian Fei Yang could only accept this fact. In fact, he also vaguely guessed who was behind the scenes, and understood the helpless anger. Xiaoao, Qi Changjai walked in with a post in his hand. Zhang Yanrang sent it over from the city lord's mansion, and it goes without saying that the purpose is also for the Qing Chen pill. Zhang Yan was too busy to get out of his body, so he wanted to send someone to bring it over. Just as he saw it, he took it over. According to his temper, he wanted to use his sword energy to turn it into powder on the spot. City Lord's mansion, Gu Yao took the post, opened it, and said in surprise, "Please come with Hu Guzu. It seems that I can't push it away." Because this time he was not invited to stay in the temporary residence of the City Lord's mansion, but to discuss important matters. Gu Yao had a headache. If he could, he would rather stay in the pill room than deal with such people, or go hunting on the front lines. Sea beasts are also more happy than this. Hu Guzu is going to," the little fat man almost blurted out the words "my grandfather" and stopped at the last moment. "Well, under the harmony of the eyes, don't worry, nothing will happen. Hu Guzu will not go there for the first time, and the city lord's mansion of Shifang City has also been in and out several times." Gu Yao did not forget the city lord last time. It is not easy to ignore the attitude of Hu Guzu. The little fat man frowned and said nothing. Zhang Yan took time out of his busy schedule and finally came over to discuss what would happen when he went to the residence of the city lord's mansion and how to deal with it. They just want the pill recipe for the Qing Chen pill, so give it to them. If they join, the pill will be sold more, which is always beneficial to the majority of cultivators. The formula of the researched potion is published on the Star Network, and the same is true for the final potion that transforms the qualifications. With us here and Qiangu, it is impossible for the city lord's mansion to raise the price, and even if we don't give it now, I don't know when the alchemy master of the city lord's mansion will crack the alchemy formula. It's just a pill recipe, he doesn't want to keep it a secret. There are countless pill recipes in the pill pavilion alone, and he doesn't lack them. Because only in this way can the alchemy technique be better developed and prosperous. Blindly cherish the broom, and do not use the alchemy technique to develop forward. But what if the city lord's mansion sent this pill to Changxianmen? Your achievements were replaced by others, Zhang Yan asked. This is very likely, and Changxianmen can't say it publicly. The pill recipe was researched by a little monk in a wilderness. Doesn't it seem that a tall sect like Changxianmen is too incompetent? Even a little monk in a wilderness can't compare. Gu Yao will go in the future over there. You can't even justify yourself. He believed that characters like Gu Yao and Qi Changjai would not be trapped in the Tianlin continent forever. It doesn't matter, I believe that I will not be able to come up with only one pill recipe for Qing Chen pill in the future. Gu Yao smiled confidently, not afraid that others would steal his achievements. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 127. Zhang Yan and the others just held grievances for Gu Yao, but seeing that Gu Yao didn't care, they let it go. Not everyone can do this kind of mind. If someone on the side of Changxianmen really pretends to claim Gu Yao's achievements, and is so brazen, can this alchemist really make great progress in alchemy in the future? When he was born with greed, an incomparably strong blocking stone has been erected on his way forward. Before departure, Gu Yao and Hu Guzu communicated and contacted, and the two of them breathed out first. For Gu Yao's decision, Qi Changjai just pressed his head hard and gave him silent support. Su Chen witnessed the whole process in the space, and finally left two words, idiot, but he did not express too many opinions. Although he and Hu Guzu gave Gu Yao a lot of opinions, the completion of this pill recipe it is still dominated by Gu Yao alone, so he has complete autonomy over where Dan Fang goes. When he floated back to the pill pavilion, he couldn't help reflecting on the past and the situation of the cultivation world when he was facing the full layer of pill books. He also looked forward to the future of Gu Yao. He somehow understood why the pill pavilion chose Gu Yao. Such a master, perhaps because of such a valuable quality in him. Gu Yao and his party met at the gate of the temporary residence of the city lord's mansion. Hu Guzu walked out and looked at Gu Yao gently. It's really decided? Don't you regret it? Guyao smiled slightly. I don't regret it. The more I put in it, the more I find that I need to learn. This means that his growth is far more than now. Huguzu understood, and smiled relievedly. He was originally worried that Guyao was forced to make such a compromise due to the pressure of the city lord's mansion. He was worried that it would leave a shadow in his heart and create some obstacles for his Dandao, but now that he found that he was thinking too much, this result aroused Guyao's enterprising spirit even more, and the pressure became the driving force. Invite from Master Hugu, and from Master Ancient Alchemist. The people from the city lord's mansion respectfully invited the two and the cultivators who came with them into the room. A large number of cultivators in Zebu watched and speculated about the purpose of this trip. After listening to this, I understood the intention of the city lord's mansion, especially the merchants. They were a little worried that Guyao could withstand the pressure. Once the Qingchen pill was interfered by the city lord's mansion, it would not be easy for them to get this pill. It was not the first time they had come into contact with Duobao Pavilion's domineering style on the Tianlin continent, but they dared not speak out. Northern Star Sect originally had cultivators who responded to Tian Haiman's request for help and participated in this battle against the Beast Tide, but as soon as the news of Qingchen Dan reached the North Star Sect, the sect master immediately ordered additional personnel to go there, and the leader was the one who just left the customs. The eldest brother Yan Yang, along with Lu Minzu, when Guyao and Huguzu entered the city lord's residence, they arrived in Tianshuifang City, and their classmates told them the news. Yan Yang waved his hand and said, "This result is not unexpected. We can only try to gain some benefits as much as possible under the current situation. It is impossible to monopolize the benefits. If the dean of Jindan in the academy ran out in annoyance, it would be very bad." Yan Yang and his party went to live at the temporary residence of the Northern Star Section. Lu Minzu, who was in a state of reluctance along the way, made up his mind to find the senior brother. 2 years ago, Hong Suandan thought she was surprised and shocked. She didn't expect that 2 years later, this young man with 4 spiritual roots was even more dazzling. He alone shook the entire Tianlin continent. Fortunately, Guyan people left the Tianlin continent, otherwise they would have to be stimulated by Guyao's achievements today. "Senior brother, I'm afraid I won't be able to help you this time," Lu Minzu said with a wry smile. "Junior sister, what is on her mind?" Yan Yang could see that when Lu Minzu mentioned Guyao, his expression was always complicated, with regret, shame, and at a loss. At this time, Lu Minzu dared to hide it any longer. She dared to say that she had a marriage contract with Guyao, and under her acquiescence and ignorance, the Gu family used methods to make Guyao look ugly. After getting rid of the marriage contract, Guyao also used the Changxianmen token to leave the Gu family. "Elder brother, I'm sorry." After speaking, Lu Minzu closed her eyes, her face flushed, and she was extremely ashamed. After she came out, her eyes widened and she knew how inauthentic what she had done before. Yan Yang poured a cup of tea and brought it to Lu Minzu. The fragrance on the tip of her nose made her open her eyes and saw Yan Yang's tolerant smile. "Don't senior brother blame her for this?" Yan Yang said, "We are not saints, who has not made mistakes?" "Senior brother, I did not make mistakes in this matter. When I was in Shifang City, I missed it and did not absorb the ancient alchemist into our sect. Let him go to Tianfu College, and he didn't even give him a face at that time. Guyao at that time was a passerby in his eyes. The past can't be traced, as long as you face yourself, and according to my judgment, Gu alchemist is not a narrow-minded person who takes revenge for personal gain, otherwise he would not have come to Tianshuifang City early in the morning, and he would not have released Qingchen pill, especially the price of Qingchen pill is not high, his heart is with him. Age does not match." Yan Yang had guessed that Lu Minzu didn't say something before, but he didn't force her, but he didn't expect such a situation. There is no need for Guyao to take revenge on purpose. These two families will be able to regret it to the point where their guts are blue. Obviously, an opportunity to reach the sky in one step was put in front of their eyes, but they were abandoned by their own hands. Lu Minzu stammered, I don't seem to know him in the past, I felt this gloomy and cowardly. A piece of trash, but after leaving Gu family and Yuan Yang town, he changed his face so thoroughly. Yan Yang guessed, that should be because the Gu family's environment is not good, let him have no choice but to hide himself. He didn't want to let such a selfish family stare at blood-sucking. The temporary residents of the city lord's mansion. Gu Yao and Hu Guzu were invited by Elder He and sat down together with them. Gu Yao was about to pick up a spirit fruit to chew when he felt a vicious gaze cast on him and looked up at the source of his gaze. As expected, she saw a female cultivator standing behind the other cultivators on the side of the city lord's mansion. Her eyes seemed to be poisoned. It turned out to be Miss Ruan Xinhui. Gu Yao didn't know it before, but now of course this person's identity, if it wasn't for the overall situation, or the first one would not agree to cooperate with Duobao Pavilion and declined all contacts with Duobao Pavilion. Before Gu Yao could respond, Lu Qiu's Hung sneered unceremoniously. Although he didn't speak, the sneer was enough to attract the attention of others, and the monks in the city lord's mansion looked at Lu Qiu's Hung angrily. What a rude fellow! After Elder He found it, he glanced at it but understood what was going on, his face sank. He said not to let Ruan Xinhui come forward. Who put her in? He immediately made a look, and someone immediately dragged Miss Ruan down. She wanted to protest, but then she saw Elder He's cold eyes, and she became honest under a shock. Gu Yao, who witnessed the whole process, didn't know whether to call this eldest lady stupid or stupid. She wrote everything on her face and acted so fruitlessly. Maybe it was because of her high status that she always had wind and rain, so she never acted. Cover. I'm used to hiding it, and if I don't like it, my face will be too ugly. Master Hugu, this Jing Chen pill. Master Hugu waved his hand and interrupted Elder He, knowing what he wanted to say. Jing Chen pill was completely researched by Gu alchemist. We in Qian Valley share the pill recipe of Jing Chen pill, and Mr. Hu is already very ashamed, so if Elder He wants to ask about Jing Chen pill, it is better to discuss it directly with Master Gu. Hu Guzu did not take the credit, and made his position clear. Elder He secretly murmured in his heart, this old Hu Ting is still so bad-tempered, yet he has no jealousy towards a junior? But I have to praise Gu Yao out loud. It is nothing more than saying that he is a rising star among the alchemists in the Tianlin continent. It is a blessing for the Tianlin continent to have a genius alchemist like him in the Tianlin continent. Gu Yao wanted to rub his ears, urging him to get to the point earlier. The city owner very much hopes that Master Gu and Hu Gu will allow more monks to enjoy the Jing Chen pill. According to he, the power of the ancient alchemist to promote the Jing Chen pill is still a little weak. I wonder if it can be handed over to the city lord's mansion? I won't treat Gu alchemist badly. If you have any requirements, Gu alchemist can speak up. Elder He put on a generous appearance, like you, Gu Yao Lion, opened his mouth, and he would be more tolerant at such a young age. Chi Changjai opened his eyelids and gave Elder He a cool look. He saw that the surnamed He was cold, but when he looked up, he found nothing unusual. Lu Qiu's Hung gritted his teeth, this old guy is too thick-skinned, and he is carrying the city lord's mansion and posing as an elder, so he is not too embarrassed to panic. Zhang Yan glanced at Gu Yao to see if he needed to come. Gu Yao smiled slightly, indicating that Brother Zhang did not have to do so, and said, Elder He, let's open the skylight and say something bright. Dan Fang, I can give it, but I have it. Condition. Okay, even if Gu alchemist speaks, there is nothing that the city lord's mansion can't satisfy. Elder He said with satisfaction, thinking that this kid is young and tender, and the title of the city lord's mansion is not enough to scare him. First, the price of Jing Chen Dan is based on the price set by me and Hu Guzu, and the price must not be raised. Second, I only need half of the profits from the Jing Chen pill sold by the city lord's mansion, and this half of the profits will go to Tianfu Academy. On these two conditions, if Elder He agrees, We will make a contract on the spot, and I can immediately hand over the pill to Elder He. Huguzi squinted his eyes and smiled. Guyao is really not that easy to fool. He has a firm mind and is extremely intelligent. This spirit stone is handed over to Tianfu Academy. Will the city lord's mansion and Duobao pavilion dare to swallow it recklessly? If you dare to swallow it, it is estimated that Dean Yu will come to their door and have a good talk with them. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 128. Zhang Yan and Lu Qiuzheng were slightly taken aback when they heard it, then they laughed again. Guyao was always so unexpected, no one would have thought that he would be so generous and give half of the profits to the academy. Elder He was also caught off guard, and the monks in the city lord's mansion wanted to dig their ears, suspecting that they had heard it wrong. So what else could Guyao get? Just for a reputation? Could it be a fool? Qi Changjai sat there quietly, but no one could ignore the aura that this man radiated from the inside out. Those who wanted to laugh at Guyao immediately shut up when they saw Qi Changjai beside him. The image of hunting sea beasts has spread throughout the city. As long as he has a sword in hand, no sea beast can get close to him. Before, a sea beast with a great foundation was cut under his sword. Will cause disaster. Elder He was stunned for a moment and then looked at Guyao with narrowed eyes, seeing his innocent appearance, suspecting that he was pretending to be a person with deep scheming. But Elder He couldn't disagree. The attitude of Huguzi was very obvious. This matter can only be decided by Guyao. Although he is holding the pill, he will never spread it without Guyao's consent. He has fought with Hugu. A lot of contacts. I know how pedantic this person is in this regard. What's more, the city lord came to tell him that he must win the Qing Chen pill recipe. He is very clear about the real intention. It is a small head to use it to make a profit on the Tianlin continent. The place where it really plays a role is Changxianmen. Fang Chuan returned to Changxianmen, that is, the Changxianmen family is the only one, and Guyao can't control the Changxianmen site, and the city owner can also take the opportunity to get rewards in the door. Okay, then let's make a contract on the spot, and Lord Hugu will be the witness. Elder He originally thought about Guyao's lion's mouth, but now it doesn't feel much if only half of the profit is made. Anyway, this is a matter of Duobao Pavilion. The resources that the Duobao Pavilion handed over to the city lord's mansion will not decrease. Yes, Huguzi nodded. So the three parties made a contract in front of everyone, but the content of the contract was slightly different from what Guyao said. That is, Elder He specially emphasized that on the Tianlin continent, Zhang Yan he would never raise the price unilaterally. A look of sure flashed in Qi Changjai's eyes. Huguzi continued to testify after seeing Guyao's reaction. Guyao probably didn't see this point, he just didn't care. At the moment when the contract was formed, all three parties felt a binding force descended from somewhere, but as long as no one violated the contract, the binding force would have no effect. After the contract was formed, Guyao burned a jade on the spot. Jane handed it over to Elder He. Elder He quickly scanned the jade slip and handed it over to the accompanying alchemist for inspection. The alchemist showed a surprised expression after reading the contents of the jade slip. Some materials were messy, and orthodox alchemists would never use these materials. A pot of stew, many are conflicting, put together will only fry the stove. But what the alchemy recipe gives is not only the required spiritual materials, but also all the refining steps, the alchemy techniques used, and after the alchemist simulates it in his mind again, he has to admit that using such techniques afterwards, the conflicting medicinal properties can be balanced and a perfect fusion can be achieved. What a genius! Elder He, I'll go to the pill room to try it out. The pill recipe should be fine. The alchemist couldn't wait to try it. Elder How he agrees, he also wants to see results. Guyao said with a smile that I didn't leave Tianxuifang city so soon. If you have any questions, feel free to come to me. Thank you, Master Gu Alchemy. The alchemist made an exception to salute Gu Yao, and then hurried out, taking several alchemists with him. Hu Guzu was not at all surprised by the performance of this alchemist. Anyone who saw this alchemy recipe would be impressed by the alchemy technique in it. Hu Guzu and Gu Yao glanced at each other, and then said goodbye to Elder He. Elder He held back for a while, and finally sent the person out of the station in person. Most of the monks who were guarding outside did not leave. Seeing Hu Guzu and Gu Yao walked out together, and many people exaggeratedly sighed in relief, causing Elder He to give him a cold glance. He was stupid to start on his own site. Hu Guzu and Gu Yao also parted at the door and went back to their respective homes. At the same time, Duobao Pavilion also spread the news of the sale of Qing Chen pill. The price is exactly the same as the first two. This is a good thing for the majority of monks. I don't know who reported that Gu Yao was in the city lord's mansion with Elder He. During the negotiation process, the price was emphasized by Gu Yao, and half of the profits were given to the academy. The monks admired Gu Yao even more. The forces that came from all sides, such as the Northern Star sect, were a bit regretful to hear the news. Since the city lord's mansion has all intervened, it will be difficult for them to get the pill recipe from Gu Yao. Fortunately, the price is not high. With the addition of a channel, it should be difficult to buy medicinal pills. Maybe it won't take long for the alchemist in the door to be able to decipher this recipe. Senior brother, what should we do now? Are we ordering from Your Excellency Duobao, the Northern Star sect disciple asked Yan Yang, or Qian Valley? These two are relatively powerful, and there are many alchemists. Yan Yang looked down at his shiny and full nails, and then raised his head and said, place an order with the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce, and said that I hope some of the medicinal pills will be refined by the ancient alchemist. Forget it, I will go to this matter myself. Discuss with fellow Daoist Zhang Yan at Tianfu College. Is this good? Big brother actually chose the weakest party? Yan Yang smiled, don't you want to use high-grade pills? Can the other two forces guarantee the chance of high-grade pills? This is really a problem. The younger brothers and sisters who heard it all sided with Yan Yang and supported him in placing orders with the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce. Yan Yang is not only thinking about this. Of course, it is better to have a high-grade pill. On the other hand, he wants to take the opportunity to close the relationship with the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce or Gu Yao. He does not know what Gu Yao is. There is so much potential, but what he has shown so far is amazing. If he successfully builds the foundation, it will only be a matter of time before he surpasses Hu Guzu, so he missed the great opportunity of the original Ascension Conference. He doesn't want to be one step behind. The better it is to make a good impression. He glanced at Lu Minzu, who was standing behind him, hoping that Gu Yao would not care too much about it. Lu Minzu bit her lip, and half of the profits were given away. If it didn't happen at the beginning, both the Gu family and the Lu family would have benefited. Unfortunately, there is no regret medicine in the world, and time cannot be reversed. More and more cultivators came to Tianjuifang City, striving to place the first batch of orders and get the pills as soon as possible. Of course, after they arrived, they could not just sit back and do nothing, so they joined the fight against the beast tide. Facing the attacks of many monks, there are already signs of some sea beasts retreating to the sea beasts. The news spread to Tianjuifang City and Tianhaimen, and the monks were greatly encouraged and further strengthened their momentum and fighting spirit. Zhang Yan came to look for Gu Yao. Although the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce is the weakest among the three forces, there are still many forces from all sides who come to ask for pills. Some of them can make the call, and some of them involve Gu Yao. Lu Qiuzheng was someone who couldn't sit still, and Zhang Yan couldn't walk away. He still ran out of Tianjuifang City from time to time, hacking and slashing with sea beasts, and when he came back, he was refreshed. Gu Yao, Yan Yang from the Northern Star sect came to place the order in person. In addition to Qing Chen pill, there are other medicinal pills, but he has a request. What is it? Gu Yao still remembered that the senior brother of the Northern Star sect was a famous person at the Immortal Ascension Conference. Zhang Yan said, he hopes that some of these orders will be made by you personally, Gu Yao, and the price of this part will of course be different. Yan Yang's order is the largest. It is extremely beneficial, but Gu Yao does not agree that he will not accept it, and will not be greedy for a while. Did you specify a time? Gu Yao said, as long as you can afford it, I'll be fine here. He has to finish the order in his hand before he can take this order. It will come first, then come first, and will not make anything special for the Northern Star sect. It's natural, Zhang Yan affirmed. Then there's no problem. Gu Yao thought about it and didn't want to say it. Zhang Yan hesitated for a moment, and said, I heard junior brother Tian say that a female cultivator that you both came out with had a special physique, so she entered the Northern Star sect and became an inner disciple. I heard that she also followed this time. Gu Yao was stunned for a moment, then smiled. Brother Zhang, you mean Lu Minzu? It's okay, she is her. The North Star sect is the North Star sect, and she alone cannot represent the entire North Star sect. Okay, then I'll listen to you. Gu Yao. Zhang Yan smiled softly, reached out and rubbed Gu Yao's head. According to Yi Chiu's Hung, how could junior brother Gu be so likable, and he couldn't even hate him? How could someone deliberately frame such a Gu Yao? Then Lu Minzu is also blind. After messing up Gu Yao's hair, Zhang Yan didn't think that he was grinning at Qi Changjai, who was looking at him indifferently from a different place, and then Shi Shiren walked out, rubbing the little brother Gu's hair against Qi Changjai's cold eyes. The pressure is worth it. As soon as Zhang Yan left, the cat cub immediately jumped onto Gu Yao's head and continued to smash the cub. Qi Changjai carried the cub away with a blank expression, ignoring its meow protest. Gu Yao quickly pulled his hair, one by one. What's wrong? Qi Changjai looked at the cat cub and said, is this cub gaining weight again? He has been fed too many inner pills and medicinal pills recently. Monster beasts, especially this kind of alien beast, are different from human monks. The ability to digest medicinal pills is first class, and there is no need to worry about erysipelas. The inner pills of sea beasts are similar. When he went out to fight the sea beast for the first time, the little cub jumped out and jumped on the heads of the sea beasts, only to be swept away by Qi Changjai's eyes, and hurriedly threw it into the spirit beast bag, and used his sword energy again. Smash those sea beasts to pieces, because after being stepped on by this cub, the interior of those sea beasts is about to be incinerated, and they will be noticed by others a little later, so he can only follow and wipe away the traces. Gu Yao blinked, probably not. Because of the first situation, when he went out to fight, he put it in the spirit beast bag. Gu Yao always felt restrained, so he indulged it a little after returning to Fang City. It should be, not getting fat. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 129. This time the coastal beast tide came suddenly without warning, but the number of monks participating in the resistance was unprecedented, so the end was so unexpected. When all the sea beasts retreated into the sea, there was no sign of large-scale sea beasts coming ashore. The city lord's mansion and Tianhaimen jointly announced that the sea beast tide has finally receded. Tianhaimen is grateful for the great assistance of all parties and sent out many products unique to the sea. Among them, Gu Yao and Qi Changjai, who have neutralized great achievements, have both obtained Tianhaimen. Thank you very much. After saying goodbye to Tianhaimen, Tianfu College and his party also embarked on the return journey. Of course, the accepted order was to return to the college to continue to complete. Tianru's defense was far away, and the coastline was long enough, so he waited until the beast tide receded before returning to the door. Seeing Gu Yao and his party flying away on the flying instrument, he turned around and sighed to his nephew, "I didn't expect him to be able to walk there." At this point, I underestimated him, not him. The beast tide did not recede so quickly, and the casualties of Tianhaimen are far more than that. He is kind to us Tianhaimen. Although Tianru was in a complicated mood, a person who used to be unattractive in the past has now become a person who can turn the tide, but she can stand out among the monks and successfully build a foundation, and she is not someone who dares not admit her mistakes. Tianfei Yang said with a smile, "Auntie has only been in contact with Guyao for a few days, so it's normal for me to have a shallow understanding. I've known him for a long time, so I didn't notice the difference." Tianru understood that his nephew was comforting him, smiled, and remembered something. "Fei Rong's cultivation has increased greatly, is it all because of Guyao? Do your parents know about this?" Another nephew, whose cultivation level is no less than Tianfei Yang, who she has always liked, made her doubt her eyes again. Tianfei Yang hesitated and said, "I probably don't know, I'll tell you when I send the letter back next time." Tianfei Yang had some doubts in his heart. When he first saw the second brother talking about his cultivation, the second brother, who had always been heartless, had a complicated look on his face. He only said that Guyao helped him, and the others seemed to have avoided it. He knew there was something inside that he didn't know, and when fighting together, he noticed that the second brother's spiritual energy contained a faint light blue flame, which was very powerful. Even if he fought head-on, he might not be able to resist it. "I don't know what happened to my brother." Tianru didn't think much about it. "Well, I should say, this is a good thing. Your father will be happy to know that Fei Rong is so high-spirited. With the cooperation of the two brothers in the Tian family, it will not be a problem to maintain it for another 100 or 200 years." All she knew was that a nephew who didn't want to be motivated all day had suddenly grown up, which was of course a good thing for the Tian family. The beast tide receded, and the top of Tianhaimen was not able to release it completely. The sudden beast tide, for unknown reasons, was always a sharp sword hanging over their heads. Most of the previous beast tides can be traced, but this time they sent people to venture into the depths of the sea to investigate, but they failed to find the ultimate source. Even the beast tide on the land appeared for no reason and receded for no reason. Could it be that someone or a demon is behind all this? An elder ventured to guess. What's the purpose? What is the purpose of artificially creating such a large-scale beast tide? Someone asked, not to refute this speculation, but to make things clearer. The door owner coughed lightly and said, "Don't make any noise, no matter what the reason is, we have to speak with evidence. Before we find sufficient evidence, we will continue to investigate and strengthen our patrol to prevent any. In the event of an unexpected situation, the resources in the sect are relatively sufficient this time, so I decided to take out a batch to reward the outstanding disciples this time, so that they can grow up as soon as possible. Yes, it's up to the sect master. This time, many local people have been severely affected. In my opinion, it is better to send some disciples to check, and absorb the children and teenagers with spiritual root aptitude into the door, which can supplement the casualties of the disciples in the door, and these people will be more in the future. Protect this side carefully," someone suggested. "I think it works. I think it's fine, so let's do it this way." The door owner also agreed, and they, like the local people, relying on the sea to eat the sea, although it is dangerous here, but not to mention the abundant resources in the sea area, the places with abundant spiritual energy on the land have long been divided up by various forces. Join forces to reject oppression. On the way back, everyone was very happy. This time, the harvest was very great. Not to mention the harvest of hunting sea beasts, it was the greatest blessing that they obtained the Qing Chen pill before other monks. Those students who did not come to resist the beast tide, when the news of Qing Chen pill passed back, they sent messages one after another, wanting to go through the back door to get Qing Chen pill from their side, but no one paid any attention to those guys and waited in line. I heard that Tianhaimen has yet to find out the cause of the beast tide. They are the forces that are most familiar with the sea area. They can't find out, and we have no way to do it. Zhang Yan said the situation he inquired about. Yao alchemy, other people are willing to fight, he deals with various figures, and the contact with Tianhaimen is indispensable, so he knows some things. Maybe it will be found out after a while, no matter what the reason is, there will always be some traces left. Follow the vine to find out the truth. Gu Yao said optimistically. Yes, Xiaoao is right. Qi Changjai agreed unprincipally, making Tianfirong and the little fat man blind. Zhang Yan and Qi Changjai exchanged glances in mid-air. They both believed that even if it was made artificially, it would be impossible to erase all traces. Their tails are exposed. The Shi family was destroyed 2 years ago, and the same is true of the beast horde 2 years later. If it is really artificial, there is one thing to worry about right now, and that is Gu Yao's safety. Originally, the beast swarm did not end so soon, and the consequences would not be as serious as it is now. If we get to the bottom of it, then what caused all this to force the plan to die in the middle is Gu Yao, who accidentally released the Qing Chen pill. Will Gu Yao be spared? These speculations Qi Changjai did not explain to Gu Yao, so as not to break Gu Yao's mind of focusing on alchemy by outside interference. But at this moment, Qi Changjai noticed something strange, suddenly got up and flew in front of the magic weapon, and after observing for a while, he waved his hand to stop. Brother Qi, what's going on? Does anyone else dare to do it on our way? Lu Qiu's Hung swept to Qi Changjai's side. Zhang Yan was on the other side, looking forward vigilantly. Yes or not, you can tell with a single strike. Qi Changjai pulled out his sword indifferently, the flying magic weapon stopped, Zhang Yan commanded the man to open the shield, and Qi Changjai flew high into the sky, overlooking the ground from above. The scene below, immediately slashed down with the sword in the air, imposing like a rainbow, unstoppable. The person on the magic weapon could not see the situation of the sword at all. At that moment, he only saw a piece of thunder light across the sky, and Qi Changjai was also enveloped by the thunder light. Fang's scenery shattered like transparent glass, turned into flying pieces and scattered in all directions. The monks hidden in it vomited blood and fell to the ground. One of the skinny old men looked at Qi Changjai with a cold face in the sky in disbelief. I dare to believe that someone can break the formation of all of them with one sword. What are you waiting for? Come on. Leave them all behind, the withered old man made a hoarse voice. He couldn't believe how much power Qi Changjai still had to stop everyone's attack after he struck out such a mighty sword. So many cultivators were plundered from the shadows and swept towards the flying instruments suspended in the air. Lu Qiu was so angry that he cursed, where did the cake come from, dare to speak out loudly, and want to keep them all, I will live cut these bastards. However, before the people from the academy flew out of the instruments, they saw several small jars fly out of the instruments, accompanied by a voice, Brother Ye, break them and find a way to blow them down with the wind. As soon as the sound ended, the jars burst open in mid-air. The jars were filled with liquid, but as soon as they came into contact with the air, they volatilized into a gaseous state, and a hurricane rolled up these strangely colored gases. Fly towards the shady guy who is flying head-on. Not good, hide. Hold your breath. From the color of the gas, you can tell that it is poisonous, and it is likely to be highly poisonous, so the skinny old man immediately sounded a warning, but the hurricane was extremely fast, and some people who were slow to respond had already inhaled it, and suddenly their heads dizzy, people went from the magic weapon fell down, and the spiritual power lost control. When it fell from a high altitude, the person was directly smashed into flesh. Honey, Lu Qiu's Hung witnessed the scene with his own eyes, and swallowed uncontrollably. What kind of thing did Junior Gu come out of? It's a little scary, but is there any more? Give it to senior brother. Stay on your guard. Although they were standing in front, they could still hear that the voice was from Guyao, and besides him, who else could Chi Changai cooperate so well with? The detoxification pill is here, what are you waiting for? Guyao took out another handful of pills, eager to fly out of the magic weapon, and chop these thieves who dared to block the way like cutting a watermelon. Everyone suddenly woke up from the state of aphasia, and everything returned to normal. They quickly grabbed a pill and flew out, leaving only the person who controlled the magic weapon. Killing these roadblockers is as easy as cutting a watermelon. They cut down all those who didn't have time to escape. It's just that the shriveled old man and those who didn't rush out immediately ran away. Chi Changai closed it when he saw it, but did not chase him out, worried that the other party would leave behind him. He looked back at Zhang Yan, and it seemed that they had guessed it. The Shi family extermination case has a lot to do with it. Transmigration, First-Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 130. To avoid another accident, everyone returned to the magic weapon and left this place as soon as possible. After that, the person who controlled the magic weapon became more focused and alerted to the situation outside. Others looked at Guyao with bright eyes. Guyao was definitely not the number one in terms of combat power, but he fought so easily just now, relying on those poisons that Guyao refined. If he came out, one would be top 10. Who dares to say that the alchemist's combat effectiveness is not good? Let them taste the poison refined by Guyao. Fortunately, Guyao is usually good-natured, otherwise they would not dare to approach Guyao easily with this show. Lu Qiu bluntly asked for a small bottle of poison from Guyao. It was just used outside, and the detoxification pill was also prepared. Although it was not as enjoyable as fighting and killing, it was the best weapon for Yin people. Thinking of those guys before in the end, Lu Qiu's Hung laughed so much that everyone else got goosebumps. Zhang Yan smiled and said, Guyao, the poison sacks and other things that you asked those monks to send are used to refine this. I really didn't expect Guyao to have such a hobby. Let him always win by surprise. Guyao nodded, yes, there are many poisonous sea beasts, so I tried to collect some. Some of them are people who have been injured and poisoned and asked him to come to him. When he detoxifies others, he doesn't charge a doctor's fee, so he asks them to collect the strange poison in their bodies. He has a lot of these things in a storage bag. Of course, it's far more than that. Some of the exotic flowers and plants in Lu Qiasheng's small secret realm are poisonous. There are a lot of poisonous plants in the Kyukiu Mountains, and a lot of things have been collected in the secret valley. He tossed out many kinds of poisons, and he was very interested in developing them one by one. Let's see, this time it won't work wonders. Guyao expressed his satisfaction. Everyone voted in admiration. The news that Tianfu College was attacked on the way quickly spread, and the atmosphere of the battle alerted the nearby monks. After the storm stopped, someone rushed over, leaving many traces on the scene, and it can be proved that the one who just flew over was from Tianfu College. Flying magic weapon, no matter who the attack is, as long as Guyaran is on it. This news couldn't be without a sensation, and the cultivator who had received Guyaon was suddenly blown up. Tianfu College also received news that Elder Yi personally brought people out, met Guyao and his party on the way, and continued to return to the college after meeting, and found that no one in their party was injured. Elder Yi and others were relieved, knowing that this flight these students on the instruments have all made great achievements and greatly raised the name of the academy. Among them, Guyao is the most credited. Not to mention Qing Chen Dan, it is half of the profits of Duobao Pavilion Qing Chen Dan, which is also a considerable income for Tianfu College. When the news was passed back to the college, how many students respected Guyao as a people, because each of them will benefit from it. Even the high-level officials of these colleges are also very grateful for what Guyao has done. So when they heard that they were attacked on the way, the high-level officials rushed to meet them without thinking. When the flying instruments arrived at Tianfu Academy, they saw ribbons and flowers floating in the air everywhere, decorating the whole Tianfu Academy like a festival. The flowers were in full bloom, and some ribbons had large characters written on them. Welcome Guyao back to the academy. Warmly celebrate Guyao's development of Qing Chen Pil, which has made a name for our college. Welcome to the triumphant return of the students who went to the battlefield. Brother Qi is mighty. Senior brother Lu is domineering. The names of every student on the flying instrument are mentioned, and they must have been typed by their respective small groups. Guyao was lying on the instrument and looked so happy. Of course, the one belonging to Guyao was the most, and it was accompanied by with the thunderous cheers and screams. It was really unbearable enthusiasm. When the shield was opened, a deafening whistling sound came to the face, one wave after another, so shocked that the cat squatting on Guyao's shoulder almost fell, and the cat who finally grasped Guyao's clothes in the eyes, still with lingering fears. Human cultivator, it's really scary. Fortunately, the enthusiasm returned to the enthusiasm, and there was still order. Zhang Yan directly asked people to fly the magic weapon over the area of A. The people below were also clever, and opened the shield. Guyao and his party flew directly from the sky to their yard, but the scene outside still maintained for 2 full days before they were withdrawn. Next is the Guka shop and the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce being crowded. All want to buy Qing Chen Pil first. Guyao is from Tianfu Academy. As a member of Tianfu Academy, if you don't have Qing Chen Pil, then you will not be able to go out. Meet the identity of the college. As for the incident in the middle of the attack, the students in the academy also showed their magical powers, and many families still have some status, such as the original Shi family's Chamber of Commerce. Don't look at a single person who seems to be vulnerable in front of a behemoth like Tuobeo Pavilion. However, the addition of many small forces can also form a torrent. Therefore, after receiving the communication from the students, these small forces took action to track down the mysterious forces behind the mainland. This action can be said to make the mainland a mess. And it did bring a lot of trouble to the other party, so that the other party's original action on the schedule had to be cancelled and temporarily dormant. The most amazing thing is that such a seemingly jumping action actually pulled a tail out of an organization hidden under the Tianlin continent, and an organization called Extinction surfaced. The tragic incidents that were exposed were shocking, causing an uproar across the continent. This organization, known as the Exterminator, seems to have committed massacres in many places. Although the Shijia extermination case did not expose this organization, when this organization exposed the tip of the iceberg, it was difficult for people not to. The case is in the hands of the exterminators. Even a big force like the Northern Star sect can't sit still. The ultimate goal of this exterminator organization seems to be more inclined to exterminate the cultivation path of the Tianlin continent. Although it sounds very scary, some people say it is sensational, but if it is really? For example, the attack on Tianfu College on the way this time has to make people think deeply, whether they are going for Guyao, because the Qing Chen Dan researched by Guyao is of great significance. Who knows if he will be in the future. Develop other pills that can change the pattern? The best way to prevent the appearance of Qing Chen Dan is to get rid of Guyao. You can't help but think a little deeper. Whether it is true or not, this organization called the Exterminator can no longer tolerate it. The method is so cruel. The organization that destroys people at every turn should not exist in the world. What is the difference between them and evil demons? Guyao's scalp was numb when he heard the name. According to him, just hearing the name made people think of an organization like anti-government and anti-humanity, which belonged to a cult anyway. How can there be such an organization? It's like going crazy, Tian Firong said incredulously. Who knows, maybe this organization name has nothing to do with their purpose. The name is just a code name, the little fat man said casually. It's not impossible. Guyao touched his chin. In view of the unknown situation, Guyao and the others were attacked on their way back, so Guyao was specially instructed by many people not to leave the Tianfu Academy recently, but Guyao responded with an excellent temper. The trip requires a good precipitation, and so many materials have been collected, and it also needs to be digested well. The Ching Chen pill was officially launched, but he found several shortcomings. Perhaps the pill technique can be taken to a higher level. So he honestly stayed in the yard to refine the body and alchemy, and then turned out the alchemy book he had read and studied it, as if all the glitz outside had nothing to do with him, which made him focus on him after Chi Chang Jai. Several bigwigs in the academy are extremely satisfied. No wonder he has achieved so much at a young age. Just by his temperament, he can see that he is a person who has done great things. It seems simple, but how many people can do it? Even if some cultivators have cultivated to the golden core, they may not be able to get rid of fame, fortune, honor and disgrace. After Guyao adjusted his state, he began to refine the number 2 transformation system. This time, he went out and got 2 excellent quality wood type and fire type inner pills. Other materials were also collected. Some of them are from sea beasts. Because of this new discovery, he made some adjustments based on the original potion formula, so that the effect of the transforming agent would be more perfect. Chi Chang Jai originally went in and out of Jianfeng, but because of Guyao's actions, he stayed in the courtyard to protect Guyao's law. Tian Firong and Little Fatty also knew what Guyao was doing. They were nervous and full of expectations for Guyao. They believed that Guyao would definitely succeed. After Guyao succeeded, it would be their turn. They were excited when they thought about it. The same is true for Su Chen, watching Guyao's refining of the medicinal preparations becoming more and more smooth, full of a mysterious rhythm, even he couldn't help but be fascinated by it. The essences of the 2 elements of wood and fire are perfectly integrated. This is the combination of Guyao's own spiritual roots, so there is no need to specifically look for the inner alchemy of the dual elements. When the potion was completed, Guyao told Chi Chang Jai and the others, and then entered the training room to retreat. Chi Chang Jai and Tian Firong were guarding outside the training room, and there was a cat squatting at the door. It seemed that they didn't understand what the master was going to do. After 5 days, the door of the training room was opened, and Guyao walked out in a refreshing suit, without a trace of stains, and a dust removal formula solved all the problems very well. When seeing Guyao finally leaving the customs, Tian Firong and Little Fatty, who had been looking forward to it, just stared at him and didn't move. Guyao could understand their feelings, and he took the initiative to reach out and said, "Where is the test instrument? Let me test it." In fact, after absorbing the medicine completely, he tried to run the magic formula to absorb the spiritual energy, which was similar to before taking the medicine. The rate and amount of apparent absorption have increased. "Oh, here we come." Tian Firong took out the tester as if he had just woken up, but before he could send it, he was robbed by Chi Chang Jai halfway through. Guyao stretched out his hand, and the 4 beams of light lit up.